My name is Una Murray. I'm from the National University of Galway, Ireland, and I'm going to present a research project that we have currently that was funded by the Gates Foundation, a pilot project in Malawi, which focused on labour-saving tools for women smallholder farmers. I just want to highlight that I'm representing a group here. And on the left here, you have Zodi Gabriel-Menden, who is our key researcher, innovative researcher on the ground, in Malawi. Very dynamic, and she's working very closely. She's based at SEAD, and we're also working closely with Concern Worldwide, an Irish-based NGO, but working with their office in Malawi. Okay, so our project is really focused on how to foster innovation, the innovation potential of smallholder female farmers. That's the real focus of the project. And we're working in two areas, in Malawi. And in those areas, the farmers have limited access to mechanized equipment. They're using handheld tools, and they have limited access to energy sources. So this can perpetuate poverty. But we wanted to see how, or is it possible to move women smallholders step by step towards labour-saving innovations. So that was kind of really the key part of the project. And it was also, the process involved was more important, really, I suppose, than the technologies that the women were involved in. So we started by disaggregating the women smallholder farmers. We started with 1,600. Using a survey, we disaggregated into 192 innovators through the survey. So we called them best bet innovators. So we started by asking them what were the most onerous labour-intense tasks that they felt. So we used participatory methods throughout. So they identified the most labour-intense tasks for the rainy season and also post-harvest tasks. And you can see them there on the left-hand side, making ridges, banking ridges, and they were all using handheld tools. For the dry season, cutting, decobbing maize, and threshing, shelling, and grinding were the most labour-intense tasks. We then engaged these women in a, user-led innovation process, where they began to discuss and talk about the tools that they had and share ideas. And they started to innovate around these tools. How could they improve these handheld tools, but also could they develop new tools as well, or new methods that were labour-saving? So they did that, and the 16 innovator groups designed different types of tools. And we worked closely with Bunda College, the agricultural engineering section of Bunda College, who checked the designs. They were brought back to the women to see if they agreed with the changes that were made. And then we worked with welders, local welders, who designed prototypes of these tools. And then they were brought back to the women for testing in their own fields. And the picture in the middle shows the women testing the tools. On the right of the picture, you can see we had a 3D printing element to this project. MakerBot very kindly donated 2 3D printers to us. And we believe this was the first ever 3D printer in Malawi. But this meant that we were able to print the designs developed by the women to 3D images, and we were able to show these designs to the welders, prototypes of the designs. Okay, so I'm just going to show you, because we don't have much time, some of the post-harvest tools developed by the women. They're on the right-hand side there. Shelling maize, they designed maize sheller. The manual tasks are on the left, and on the right-hand side you can see the post-harvest tools that the women designed. Because it was a labour-saving focus, we actually had to test the time involved, and we did that, and obviously it showed major saving in terms of the women's time. Okay, so I'm checking the time here. So where are we now? What we want to do now is we want to move towards scaling up via a social enterprise approach. And I suppose moving on to the policy recommendations for that, we feel that we need national and institutional policies that provide supports and incentives that foster rural women innovators, so that allow these women to innovate. We also feel that we need to engage women very early on in the design of any technologies, where they are the agents of change to promote any new technologies. And finally, we think that we need policies both at the national level and at the institutional level that facilitate social enterprise models where rural innovator groups, I suppose, are the key partners, but also benefit from any kind of innovation or social enterprise model that can be developed. So the final point is really the link with climate change. We think that, I suppose, we've shown that women are well capable of innovating around something, and they are likely to be able to innovate about climate change adaptation. But we also feel very strongly that women's labour should be considered as an important variable in any climate change adaptation strategies. And I suppose, following up on what was said this morning, not just focusing on one aspect of production, but thinking holistically. Thank you.